You know that LMIA, or Labor Market Impact Assessment, is a very tough process. Sometimes people downplay it, especially if they deal with unscrupulous consultants or lawyers who actually sell LMIA, which is absolutely illegal. And you have to be very careful when you approach those who process LMIA with Service Canada. And I don't want to focus on LMIA as a process today. We have two incredible videos on our websites and YouTube channels. I encourage you to watch it. So, what we're talking about today is rather interesting. As part of LMIA assessment, Service Canada conducts an interview with employer. Interview that actually recorded and formed the foundation of a legal basis to issue LMIA. And this process is very complicated because employees don't know about that. Employer usually called for an interview and they provide justification or what they call rationale to justify the process of hiring foreign worker opposed to Canadians. That's why it's called labor market impact assessment. Every word is very critical here. Labor means employment. Employment is critical because people not coming here to just spend time or open business. They have to be employed in a specific business. That's why labor is a very important word in LMIA definition. Market. Labor market. Now we extend into labor market across Canada. People sometimes say, well, I cannot find someone here in my city, in my town, in my village. It's not going to work well. Every employer must give an opportunity to all Canadians first before they hire a foreign worker. So you have to be very careful when you approach someone and say, would you hire me? Well, you have to understand what stands behind those words. So now getting to the most heavy loaded word, impact. How the hiring of this foreign worker impact the local market of employment for Canadians. And that is assessed against market conditions, against everything. And that's the last word in LMIA, assessment. So the office is charged to assess impact on a labor market from every hire of the foreign worker. What happened in this particular case, and that's why we decided to record this special video, we would like to explain how it works and what we're going through. By the way, we're going through successfully. Anyvisa, proud of 100% success rate of LMIAs we ever filed. By the way, we work with LMIA Office of Service Canada since 2002. Okay, so it's not like I started yesterday and we filed a couple LMIAs. We work since 2002. Well, it was different. It was legwork. We were able to go into office and present applications, type on a typewriter. Old-fashioned, I betray my age here, right? So 2002, we started working for over 20 years. We work with LMIAs and everyone, we got it. So what happened in this particular case? You have to understand the severity of the approach Service Canada applies to every single LMIA application these days. What happened during interview? Yes, actual interview. Every employer goes through interview process without exemption. That's how Service Canada trying to scrutinize employers who would like to hire a foreign worker. So don't take it lightly when somebody offering you LMIA, but make sure it's legitimate because otherwise employers and you will go on a blacklist with Service Canada. Yes, this blacklist exists. Now, what we're talking about in this particular case, interview went wrong from the beginning because the officer clearly stated, my intention is to refuse your application. And then I asked, because I was present as representative, I asked straightforward, putting employer aside. I said, let me handle it. And I asked officer directly, what would be the basis? Well, the basis was kind of significant because the advertising standards were not followed according to the officer of Service Canada. Well, we went through this process, and I clearly pointed to mistakes that officer made in judgment and assessment because they missed something and they assume something. And like I always say, the government officers, they have twisted mind. Don't leave it to their very, very bad imagination. So we acted precisely, we acted firmly, we argued absolutely strongly, and we achieved the result 2 days later, 2 business days. We received approval of LMIA, even though full intention of the officer, and that's what the officer stated right at the beginning of interview, intention was to refuse. Also, which was a very significant factor in this case, we went through assessment of different groups we offer a job or didn't offer for some reason, and we found that officer actually used some prejudice. And I was strong enough in this case fight for the employer who was present and probably shocked by the treatment of the own government, for God's sake. So we're talking about situation when we have to jump in and present our argument with full force of our legal background and knowledge of the case. And that's how we do it. So if you like the video, if you like the story of successful LMIAs, if you know someone who intends to apply for LMIA, share this with those people. This video will be a very useful tutorial of how to select representative who can fight for you, not just make your life comfortable and cozy. Okay? Also, if you're not subscribed yet, which some of you don't, subscribe to our channel, like it, and stay safe by staying informed.